We are live, baby. What's up? What's up, Coach Trey? How you doing, Hoss?
What's good, bro? We're trying, but we're making it. I'm low key a little bit on edge for this episode. I think you and I kind of talked about this just a little bit on the phone before we came on here, man. There's a growing air of stank, and it is some of these lines. We're gonna get into that.
Well, I want to address last week. My boy held it down on his own. I unfortunately had COVID last week, so just due to work and my health at the time, I didn't have the ability to go 30 minutes strong like my boy here. So I'm back though, and I'm kind of excited. I'm pretty sure I went 50-50 last week, but the week before, which I wanted to rave about, I basically swept the card, minus one play. So I didn't get to rave about that. Me and Trey are doing for the circumstances of this season. I'd say we are doing well. It's been a weird season. It's something that's difficult to adjust to, but I know at least on my card, I feel like I'm going 9 for 9, and the card will be on Patreon. But because I missed last week and I'm feeling in a giving mood, I'm displaying my whole card today. So
Okay.
I don't know how you want to. Is there anything you want to talk about from last week? Any Oklahoma getting their ass kicked.
So I have gotten pushback, and I can try not to go too much into depth into this, but I've gotten a little bit of pushback from the Big 12 fans of life that I was way too hard on Texas, as if I was ever not a huge fan of Sarkisian. But I was hard on them, and then I wasn't. Then I was again, and then I decided that I wasn't going to be, and then they ended up losing horribly. So I'm going to not talk about Oklahoma, but there is one team in the Big 12 that I'm going to talk about, but it isn't going to be Oklahoma. But the one thing that I do want to say before we start getting into these picks, and by the way, full disclosure, I did not know you were going to give all these away. The one topic point that I want to talk about is the buyout for Jimbo Fisher has been an extraordinarily hot button topic. And the fact that we are even talking about $90 million to tell someone to go away. Like there was somebody on the Paul Feinbaum show that said, he literally called into the show and said that a hitman is cheaper than $90 million and like hung up the phone. Like that's how things are going in College Station. Like that man, dude, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
As our famous former coach said, show me the door and tell me what time to get out. I don't see why there would be any problem in taking that buyout.
You would do nothing but deer hunt and read books in a public library for $90 million with the little Velcro hat.
Look, I think with college football, it's a different atmosphere for coaches because we tend to forget quite easily, especially when a team is in dire need of a coach. So, I mean, his struggles are notable. He's done great things for Texas A&M. That's fine. He hasn't got over for their standards. And I hold their standards.
Well, their standards and everybody else's standards are different.
That's fair. I have always looked at them as a team that got great talent but didn't know what to do with them. They didn't know how to get the best out of them. You see teams like Georgia, like LSU, like Alabama get the best out of their talent. Texas A&M has the talent. They have the same talent level, in my opinion, that these big schools have. They just don't have the capability of getting it out of their kids. And I don't know if it appears to be a coaching issue. Now, what I was talking about with colleges tend to forget, say Jimbo does get bought out. He'll take a year or two off, and the next big job that opens, maybe it's Michigan up north, maybe it's name your SEC school that's going through it. I don't know if Mike Leach is on the hot seat. They're doing well this year. Billy Napier, there's not really many SEC jobs right now. But hey, if Texas or Oklahoma has a struggle job their first couple of years going, before getting into the SEC, maybe he goes there, or Missouri. You know what I'm saying? So it, teams forget. Uh, it happens, and I look. It just hasn't worked. The same old shit has happened over there. I Nothing has surprised me at all. I mean, I literally said that we've both said this in the beginning of, in our introductory videos about the regular season totals. I mean, this isn't a shock to us.
No, it's not, but it's the way that it's happening. And full disclosure, I will never. I have told you 1,000 times. I'm not the call for a person's job guy. There's way too many jobs in America that hardworking people want to have. Like I'm just not. However, it's the fact that TAMU could be the greatest dynasty in college football.
It could.
They have more money than God. They have more money than every other college, any college that you name, even the Ivy League schools. They have more money than that. There's zero reason why they could not be. Like if Saban would have decided to want to go to TAMU and not come here, and didn't want to go to Bama, Saban would be there and would literally look probably 10 years younger because he'd have had to work that much less hard to get buy-in from Texas A&M. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Texas A&M could be. And now their fans know it, except for those people that what's the rally call crap where they get in the overalls and they do the thing out. Dude, that is embarrassing. That shit is embarrassing. Please stop doing that. Please.
It's my only problem is, who do you get?
Anybody they want, Anthony. They're gonna put up $100 million minimum for anybody because they're gonna go hat in hand for a $90 million buyout if they do it. I don't think that they should do that. I think Jimbo's a good coach. I just don't think that he needs to have his Les Miles hand on the whole thing. But who would they have? Anybody. They can have anybody. They can write a blank check. Mark it. Anybody they want. Other than like the Untouchables, you don't think they give Dabo a call?
Didn't he just sign an extension?
Yeah, he certainly did.
Oh,
but you have to get told no.
You know that's the thing. I guess it's kind of what the LSU problem was a little bit, was that you spend a lot of money. This isn't Ed Orgeron money. I mean, this is double what Ed got in his buyout, right? I mean, Ed didn't get this much. You're spending $90 million on top of the $90 million you're about to guarantee on this next coach. I mean, that's a huge fucking decision with a lot of pressure right off the rip, just like Brian Kelly's facing. And you can see it hasn't been rainbows and butterflies at LSU right now, even though they are winning. That is all that matters at the end of the day. And I'd argue this. I think LSU has some great talent. But I'd argue Texas A&M probably has equal, if not more, just going off of what I've seen so far on paper. But he's a good recruiter. I mean, I think he'll have success anywhere he wants. Maybe he needs to go somewhere outside the SEC. Maybe back to Florida State. Maybe, I know Deion Sanders is a big name out there right now, which, in my opinion, I think he's doing a great thing where he's at right now with HBCUs. I think that's his niche, and he should stick with that.
If Deion went to Texas A&M, do you know that the world would burn?
I would not. I don't know how I feel about that, though. I mean,
he's not going to be that guy. He's going to Florida State. He's waiting for that.
Do you think he's a good coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying like getting Travis Hunter helps, but I mean,
yeah.
But is he a good coach?
The way he does things is very catered to the younger generation. I think what he's doing is perfect. I think some of these older guys are starting to run into some problems with connecting with their players, getting the best out of them. And I think this is probably the best scenario or the best example here.
Doesn't Lane coach that way?
Lane Kiffin? Oh yeah, he's crazy. But right. People love him. But like they'll go run the battle for him. Are they doing that for Jimbo? Obviously not.
Because I'm going to start sweating and I'm going to start pissing off the A&M fans that we have, because I do love my Texas A&M fans. we have to switch gears before I cry
That's fine.
because we're literally going to run ourselves into a circle. I'm sorry, my mom is texting me. She knows the show's on and she gets excited. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It is ignorant to talk about a $90 million buyout. I'm literally
Yeah.
as a full working person that works mostly most of the time 7 days a week. It is ridiculous to consider a $90 million buyout, and they could write that dude 4 times and it not matter. Anyway, moving on.
Well, this is the first play on my card, and it's a topic I want to talk about. I don't know if maybe I'm completely off on this, and Trey has given me some pushback as well, which is completely opposite of how it typically is when it comes to LSU football. The total for the Tennessee LSU game is 64.5. When I was doing my handicapping, I was like, this is probably at the most low 50s. But when I saw 64.5, I was like, is this a joke? Is this a typo? And doing my research, I see why. I can see why maybe they're just being ignorant. They're going off of the total points for each team, which Tennessee's over 40, I believe, and LSU's in the mid to high 30s. But if you take into account the games that actually mattered for both teams, I don't see how they still got to this number. I don't think LSU has the capability of competing in a shootout. They just don't. They don't have the offense right now. And when I say that, I don't mean that they don't have the athletes. They definitely have the athletes to do it. But where they're at right now with Jaden Daniels, they are not a gunslinging team. They've been very slow. They've run the ball. They're very slow off the the very first whistle. It's just I don't see them. I don't care who they're playing outside of like Southern, who was basically gift wrapping the ball to them every time. Against competent teams, I just don't see a world where LSU gets into a shootout and competes. If LSU is going to give up 35 to 40 points, they're going to probably lose 45 to 20. It's not going to be close. So yeah, go on. We differ, which is completely roles reversed here.
Okay.
Like, typically, I'm pessimistic about LSU because I'm a fan, but I'm pessimistic. But from last week's game against Auburn, I'm feeling great about the game. I think what LSU is what LSU is, and you see it otherwise. So it's tough. I guess maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know.
Well, you're not, because a lot of people feel the same way that you do. I just don't know how to, because, and candidly, the game that I got to watch beginning to end, no plays missed, no interruptions. I know I told you guys I was in Missouri this past weekend, not for the game. I wish, but I was in Missouri for a wedding. Shout out to my girl for getting us into that. That was a pretty cool city, by the way. Herman, Missouri. Shout out to the
smelly. It's a smelly place.
But anyway, I got to watch Alabama, Arkansas, like to completion. Like there was never a doubt in my mind that Alabama was going to win the game. There was a doubt in how close it would be, and maybe if Arkansas was going to try and cover, which I did not make an official play, but I did say if there was going to be an upset, it might have been that one. And that was frankly because I thought that even Bama could have been suspect to a look-ahead spot. I didn't think Arkansas was going to beat them. I thought Arkansas would probably upset them by getting the spread covered and make it close, which they did do. I think with LSU, man, this is what the odd makers – I'm telling you, this is what the odd makers think. Last week there was a game that I was kind of going in depth on, and everybody here heard about it, where I was trying to figure out where the line was at. I was like, where's the line is at? Like, what are you looking at? Like, why is it this much? So for me, what they're looking at is Tennessee's pass defense being the third worst in the nation. Arkansas is being the worst, but Tennessee's basically being the second worst in the nation, okay? They're looking at Tennessee's pass offense being the worst and LSU's offense and defense both being about right here. Tennessee's offense is literally all the way at the bottom. They are the number one fastest and probably the number one offense right now, up there with TCU right now in the NCAA. And they are saying they are going to leave their defense on the field a lot. And at some point in time, LSU is going to have to hit their point total for offense because they haven't been. The only game that they did was for Southern, which does not count. And they played New Mexico State. Does not count. You look at Florida State, Mississippi State, and Auburn. What did LSU do in that game? And so they're looking at LSU scored less than what they thought. I think they thought that LSU would score about 24-ish points, and they're looking to push that. And they think that, one, the line is going to be close because of that. That's why it's at 3 and not like 7. And 2, because it's the defensive piece for Tennessee. But here's my conviction, okay? And I'm going to try to keep this short and concise, okay? Tennessee's offense is so good with or without Cedric Tillman. Like, we obviously know, you and I follow this team close. Cedric Tillman may not play. You got the tight rope. Was it the tight rope?
The Tua surgery. I call it the Tua surgery.
The Tua. By the way, thank God Tua is okay.
Not that surgery. Yeah, the one he had in college before playing against LSU.
No, and we can't even get onto it right now. I'm gonna get hot.
Yeah.
But with or without him, they still have guys that can go. And I have not seen LSU's DBs go against those kind of dudes, because we thought that Mississippi State was going to be like that. And you brought that up earlier on the phone with me, is that like the Mississippi State game was kind of like where we thought the gauge was for LSU, but LSU did completely fine against them. I think Tennessee is that much better than State. Are they? Who can say? We'll find out. But I think that another piece of this is that it's at 11 a.m. I know they had some kids coming out. I think it was maybe Malik said something about how we're going to be energized and wake up and go out for the game. Bro, look, everything is sped up for you in the morning. Your full day process, your carb ups. Like, for example, if you're a kid that wants to eat bread and pasta before a game and carb up and get all your energy and stuff in, say that's rice and gravy or spaghetti and meatballs, or say it's, shrimp fettuccine, whatever it is. You're not going to eat shrimp fettuccine at 5 a.m. when you're going through your pregame meal. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is literally sped up, and ear to ground, everybody there's pissed. The players, the staff, the fans, everybody's pissed. People are going to be drunk at 10 a.m. I just think it's weird, bro. And I think that Tennessee got a blessing, because if it was at Saturday night, I'm not kidding. If it was Saturday night, I think it'd be a pick 'em. And I'm not joking.
Okay.
I think it would be a pick 'em. If it was Saturday night, I think it would be a pick 'em or a 1.5. And because of that, I'm not touching this game. I'm going to watch this game probably half drunk. So I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sticking with the under, man.
I'm scared. I like the play. I like your mindset, though.
I love the under, and my last comment on it will be this. I look at two things. Mississippi State, I would say, if they come out and beat the shit out of LSU, then they're just that much better. That maybe they're better than I thought they were going to be good going into the season, but after analyzing everything, I didn't think they would be light years better than Mississippi State offensively. Mississippi State's defense is pretty damn good as well. So, like, I used that game as a tool, and I also used the Tennessee Pitt game as a tool. That game went into overtime. Yeah. I think it was 31-24 or something along the lines of that, which still don't max the total out in overtime. So I think Cedric Tillman's a big deal. I know you mentioned they have athletes. They definitely do. They need Cedric Tillman. And with a quarterback, it's one thing, because you're not running routes with that surgery is just completely different than playing quarterback. I know you have to do dropbacks and stuff, but your route running is just not going to be the same. I just don't see it being 100%. Maybe he is used as decoys and he's just going to run go routes the entire time. I don't know. I'm interested in the game, though. And the 11 a.m. factor, it could either be a blessing or a curse. I think it's one way or the other.
Do you think that Tennessee – because somebody posed this – somebody poses it. Do you think that Tennessee's in a look-ahead spot? Like, do you think that Tennessee –
They play Bama the next week, right?
They play Bama Georgia the next two. They play the last three national champions with LSU, Georgia, and Bama. But are we so far removed from Tennessee really not being all of that they're in a look-ahead spot? Because in the Twitter sphere, bro, their fans are almost like scared that they're going to lose because of that. And I'm like,
if they didn't have a bye, I'd say yes. But they're coming off a bye, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So to
they
me,
had 2 weeks for this.
So like Bama has a bye before LSU. Every big game you have a bye before, right? I mean, it's
I,
strategically planned. So I don't see that being the case.
if there was a play, it's what you're doing. I'll say that's my last point of the game. If there was a play, it's what you're gonna do.
Anyways, I was reciting this in the car because I wanted to just do like a little 2 to 3 minute promo on
Yeah.
my card. So
Okay.
I'm gonna do it, and
Okay.
then you say whatever you have to say about your card,
Yep.
or you want to respond. All right, Kansas +7. TCU look ahead spot in my opinion. Overreaction to Oklahoma, as you see in our thumbnail. Shout out to Joey Estes, our thumbnail guy. Love the thumbnail this week. Kansas +7. TCU overrated right now, according to the line. Not saying their team is, but I think we're underlooking Kansas here in the spot. You're getting a touchdown at home. Absolutely. UCLA +3.5 at home against Utah. I think UCLA is similar to Florida this year as far as their offense, and they're a better defense, in my opinion. Offensively, they have a quarterback that is probably a better passer than Anthony Richardson, and it maybe not as good of an athlete, but he has the wheels to make you think about it. They had a very impressive win. I want to say, I forgot who they beat. Was it Oregon? No, it wasn't Oregon. Who'd they beat?
Say it again.
Who did UCLA beat? Oh, I think they beat Washington. They beat Washington, who is Washington's good. They're very overlooked as far as like the things they're doing, and I'm getting there. I think I have a play with them. Anyways, I like UCLA +3.5 at home. Anytime you have a big time game and you're getting points at home, I'm all for it.
Dude,
Georgia -29.5. Georgia -29.5 against Auburn. The people, you think Georgia hadn't heard the last 2 weeks of their critics? They were getting their asses kissed the first couple of weeks after boat racing Oregon, beating the shit out of all the little teams they played. Now they've had a couple of roadblocks where they didn't perform well. To me, I think it's just they were playing nonchalant. I think they knew they could win. They didn't play hard. I think now you have an SEC school that Auburn, say what you want about them. They're a big school. 30 points. I think they're going to get out and boat race them at home. I don't think Auburn scores a touchdown. If you can find that bet anywhere, go ahead and bet it. So I just don't see them having the offense. They scored 17 on LSU and didn't score in the second half. And I saw a stat where they didn't score in the second, like their second half point totals this year are horrendous. So that game's over. Georgia -29.5. So we're already 4-0. Xavier Worthy, the Texas receiver, the university that you hate the most, over 71.5 receiving yards against Oklahoma in the big game. You know why? You know who's back? Quinn Ewers is back. You know who Quinn Ewers' favorite receiver is? Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy was dicking Alabama receivers in that secondary. Do you think Bama's defense is better than Oklahoma's? Do you think Bama's defense would ever give up 50 points in this universe to TCU? No. All it takes is one deep ball. Xavier Worthy had several deep ball targets in that game against Alabama before Quinn Ewers got hurt. He ended up catching a lot. I had a lot of money on him in that game. Xavier, for his receiving yards, it hits here today with Quinn Ewers back. Rome Odunze, Washington receiver. He has been on my radar since the beginning of the season. He is slowly becoming the number one target for Penix, whatever his name is. Penix, the transfer from Indiana. They have a high-powered offense. His number is 74.5 yards against Arizona State, who is in shambles right now. Herm Edwards is gone. University is being investigated. They're trying to find some kind of motivation to play for. Just not going to find it against Washington. So they're going to boat race them, and I would be shocked if he had less than 100 yards because go look at his game log. Marvin Harrison Jr., receiving touchdown against Michigan State. There have been a lot of inconsistencies with who the hell goes off for Ohio State. That's how good they are this year. They had their backup running back score 5 touchdowns last week. They've had their tight end, who I've never heard of, score several multi-touchdown games this year. Who the hell goes off for them? They don't have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Marvin Harrison has been a staple in the red zone. He is Stroud's go-to guy, 100% scoring another touchdown. I feel very confident in that. Jordan Addison, receiving touchdown as well. He hasn't had one in a while. Uh, he was on a hot streak. I think he had 5 in the first 3 games. Then they played Oregon State. The whole team crumbled that game, and he had a bunch of yards last week. So he'll get back in the end zone this week and to the good line. Both of those plays are good value plays as far as the line's concerned. Will Rogers, over 329.5 pass yards. You've mentioned this already. Arkansas's defense is horrid. They're coming off of a bad loss. And KJ, I think, is playing. If he doesn't play, I don't know how they're going to keep the ball in the field for that long. And Will Rogers is looking for a redeem game after he beat Texas A&M. This is a good spot for him to actually go off because Texas A&M's defense is way better than Arkansas's. And then finally, Jaden Daniels over 209.5 pass yards. This number doesn't make any sense because if the total's going over 64.5, Jaden Daniels is going to have to throw for 225 to 250 minimum if they want a chance. This running bullshit that they're doing, him escaping the pocket barely, teams will catch up to that. If they have any chance of competing in this game, 209.5 has to go over. This is a prove it game for Jaden Daniels. I always bet his rushing yards. Teams are starting to figure that out. They will figure it out, and he's not going to be Superman. He's already been banged up several times. I see them, if they're that good, if he wants to be a great quarterback going forward, he's going to have to pass the damn ball. Get the ball to number 7, and let's make everyone happy. So that's my card. Thank you.
First of all, full disclosure, I have been trying to look up these odds because FanDuel didn't have them all, so DraftKings obviously did. Give me Kayshon Boutte before I even get into it. Give me Kayshon Boutte at over 0.5 touchdowns at plus 180. Because
have you seen his number? Have you seen his receiving number?
Yeah, it's 43.5.
43.5, yeah.
43.5. Malik Neighbors at 51.5. Give me 180 on Kayshon Boutte. I'm going to bet this until it hits. I swear to God, I'm going to do it.
It has been a while.
And I'm also in lockstep with you on Xavier Worthy over 71.5 yards at minus 110. By the way, I saw that.
That's a max play for me.
So we're going to go in on that. I'm very, very hesitant to do the Jaden Daniels over 49.5 rushing yards, and let me tell you why. Because the sack yards is what has kept him from not like destroying these, because it's the adjusted rushing yards, and the adjusted sack yards has been killing these things. However, he has been hitting them, but he could be hitting them by like 40 if it weren't for the fact that he had sack yards, and he had a burst of sack injury. Like I'm with a knee. I don't really know how healthy he is. I'm sure that he's fine. I'm sure I'm probably going to end up betting this. And if you log into our Patreon by most likely Friday evening or early Saturday morning, it's going to be in my player props. But as of right now, I've got Xavier Worthy over 71.5 receiving yards. Lock that up. Kayshon Boutte with 1 touchdown, with receiving touchdown at plus 180. Another one that I'm going to try and find really, really fast for you. And I'm really, really glad that you brought this up, because if you can go on right now, and this is what I was waiting for, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm really, really proud of you for including Kansas, because it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming, bro.
Go back to break the chalk.
I am extremely, extremely interested in this, because you think at the TCU line right now, which is, by the way, on DK, it's 6.5. You think it's inflated because of how they looked against Oklahoma. Well, neither one of us think Oklahoma is that good. Not when I say that good, they're not as good as them right now.
Let me ask this. If they get into a close game and barely win, what do you think the line is this game?
3.
There you go. That's what it should be. It should be a field goal. It should not be a touchdown. Not in a million years.
So you can do this one of 2 ways. My play is Kansas. Okay, I'm going to do the Kansas in the spread. I'm not going to say what they are against the spread. I'm not going to jinx them. Go look it up for yourself. However, you can do that, and you can get them at probably about plus 100 on the spread, or minus 110, something like that. Or you can push it to 9.5 and play the juice at minus 154. Can they cover 10? They should. So if you really want to do that, but that's going to be my play. I'm going to play that. There's another one that I want to play, but we're going to stay in the same state. I'm going to play Kansas State and Iowa State under 45, and let me tell you why. So one of my old roommates who I no longer live with, shout out to my dog Rob, used to tell me all the time, hey man, if you ever want to make money, don't bet on anything that has to do with overs on Iowa State games, because Matt Campbell is going to do whatever means necessary to win games. And it doesn't matter if the game plan is to, hey, take your helmet off and swing it at the ball 8 times and cause 8 fumbles and we're going to win 7-3. He's going to do it. And I don't think that whenever you look at either of these two offenses that they're going to set the world on fire either way. So I think that under the 45 is a safe number, because you're still kind of getting some of that Kansas State Tulane kind of play just a little bit. And so they're hesitant to want to try to move it too much. So I'm going to play under 45. It's minus 115 right now, and I love that one. So we're going to hope to God on it. I did this with my card. A lot of you probably saw this but didn't know how to feel about it. And it's not an official play yet, but it might be. But Tulane right now is minus 3.5. I did this on my card, and I said plays that should have been a part of it that didn't make it. And let me read you what those were. Plays that almost got to be a part of my card but did not quite make it because they were so good. Check me out. Under 38.5 on Air Force versus Navy. 31, 9, and 1 in the last 40 Armed Forces Bowl. Nailed that. LSU minus 6.5 if you wanted to. Obviously, that game ended up being a 4-point game. Missed it. Chris Rodriguez Jr., anytime tutty, obviously smashed it. So this is another one of those. If this game gets to 3, or if it gets to 2.5, if you can buy it to 2.5, play Tulane on that spread. Don't waste the time on the money line. Play the spread, take the money, take the points. My certainly not least, I got away from it from a little bit, but I'm going to play it this week. Your very own favorite, just a 3-teamer, Trey for 3, parlay, baby. Give me the fighting cowbells. Look, I'm sorry. I love Sam Pittman. You know that I wish Sam Pittman would adopt me as a 26-year-old. Yep. I wish that he would. I hope that I can drink beer with him one day before I die. If I don't, I'm going to die unhappy. But I think State's going to win that game. Give me State. They're minus 330. Give me my favorite team right now to cheer for, the UK Wildcats. Shout out to my dog Kev. They're still getting disrespected. Give me the State line, the UK State line, the UK line, and Air Force. Give me Air Force straight out. So that's 3 money line plays all combined together at plus 170. That's great juice, y'all. That's great juice. Plus 170. Lay a little bit of money on it, and let's just make it shake. As far as the rest of my plays, there's probably going to be 1 or 2 more on the Patreon by the time it happens. But to be frank with you, lines get weird come Friday night. So just let it play out. It's going to be an early day for Russo and myself. So just pay attention to that and go
show us some love. Give us $1, dude.
And like and subscribe while you're on your way to it.
Like and subscribe to the YouTube, patreon.com/4th-and-1 podcast. This is our 11th episode, man. And I feel a lot better about this. I mean, me and Trey have done a show before, but we were young. We were in college, getting into the real world. So now that we're established, it's been a lot. And now sports betting is legal in our state. So we don't have to go offshore and go through hoops and boundaries to get this done. So it's right at the convenience of our phone. And yeah, man, Trey's been hot. He's going with his gut this week. And that's what happens as bettors. I mean, we all hesitate, and it happens. It happens to the best of us. But your gut is probably 99% going to be right the majority of the time. So anyways, go Tigers. I'm predicting LSU win. It's not on my card. I think they win the game. Check out the Patreon. I'm going to add some more plays on there as well. I'm a player prop fiend, so be on the lookout for those as they come out. I already have some, the ones I mentioned, but I'm going to take a deeper dive and get a bigger card. So any last words from you, Coach?
I'm going to do it. I said that I wasn't going to do it. I'm going to give you guys a play that I'm going to play on the Patreon. I was going to try to hold it back.
Ooh, okay.
It's this close to making it on my week picks, bro. It's this close. It may make it there.
Okay.
Maryland and Purdue, baby Tua, over 59 points. I think that game is going to be a barn burner. I understand that there's probably not going to be 40 million eyeballs on this game. But if you want to see people throwing tutties and dots, this is the one that you want to watch out for. I'm telling y'all, over 59.5 could be a really, really hot number. And let me make sure that that's the number that I loved. Let me make sure it is. Yes, it is. Okay, 59.
That's a great lay.
I handicapped it at nothing under 61.
I'll tell. So, all right. Check us out for the rest of Trey's plays. And like I said, I'm going to add some more myself. So give us a look out. Give us the dollar if you want. It's just going to go right back into here. So peace and love, guys. See y'all later.